Hi everybody, and we're back with part 3 of small group control devices. Where we last left off was momentum towards agreement, and we're back because I just left it, but I'm back on track. So momentum towards agreement, again, your brain is kind of going in a direction and it does not want to necessarily reverse course. And here's a silly little demonstration that maybe you've seen or tried before, but I'm going to try to do it with you guys here and see if it works. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to say these words. You don't have to scream them, but say them out loud in your head, right? White part of an egg. White part of an egg is the white part, or albumin. I don't know what you said, but depending on how your brain was going, it might have said something else. Want to try again? Okay. Ta-da! Okay, ready, set, go. What do cows drink? Cows drink water. I don't know what you said, but cows drink water. Baby cows drink milk. I know. But that's just a little example of momentum towards agreement. Now, once your brain gets going in a certain direction, it can be very hard to reverse course. Okay, so people that were going to want you to get to do something pretty major are going to start off small. All right. Another great example or thing to do if you were trying to get a group to do what you want is to single out dissenters. Singling out a dissenter is somebody who's not with the program. To single them out is to call that individual out. All right. So probably every boot camp, they look for the person who's least likely to be on board. They get them to do what they want to do, and then everybody else falls in line. All right. If you're at a multi-level marketing and you start asking questions about does everyone here really make money and blah, 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 you get follow-ups. If you're not on board, they may just kick you out, flat out. Okay. A great way to get the dissenter to be on board is to what's called peer humiliate them. All right. So peer humiliation is another device. Peer humiliation is when in front of everybody else, the peers, you are going to break that person down. It has to be in front of everybody else. These go hand in hand. It actually happened to me once. I went to a taping of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and it was great fun, but it was also a little hokey. Anyway, I was sitting up front, and the MC or the person warming up the crowd said, and by the way, those crowds have to be very well tight groups. So you clap when you're supposed to clap and awe when you're supposed to awe, and you have to have them trained in very short order. Okay, we were actually so well trained we didn't need the applause things. I don't even remember if they had them. They did a very good job with us. But when he said, "Is everybody ready for the show?" I gave a very half-hearted clap. I'll admit it. He came over to me with his microphone real quickly. All right, I was singled out, and then he said, "I don't think you're really ready to start the show. I want just you to cheer." And I had to cheer in front of the entire auditorium or live audience, and it was awkward. Okay, yeah, that was the humiliation part of it. And I gave him a dirty look and I cheered. All right, probably does that every single taping. Look for the person not cheering, get them cheer in front of everybody. Everyone else is going to be just fine. All right, so that's single out dissenters and peer humiliation. Here's another form of peer humiliation that is different, but you can appreciate it. Is sex. Okay, sex can be a very sensitive topic, especially in Western society. There's lots of groups and cults actually that have used sex as part of either peer humiliation or some form of control. All right. Multi-level marketing, I guess they might use sex appeal in their advertising. I hope they don't cross the line. Military would use sex in a way in that, as a motivator or some form of breaking you down. They would probably use some sort of questioning your sexuality or questioning your manhood or masculinity. Probably females work somewhere similarly. But essentially, pushing buttons based on sex and sexual preference and those other things would be things that a drill sergeant would probably look for. So in that regard, it is using sex as a control device. Removal of past values. This goes with information control. But essentially, they're going to find a way to make things that you cared about prior not important anymore. Like those things don't matter anymore. We're going to be telling you what matters. You're also going to see a lot of language regarded to the we's and movements and forces and anything that is now a group word, okay, as opposed to you. And that has to do with the removal of past values. Anything you cared about before is gone. Call and response. All right, this one's kind of straightforward. This is when someone who's over at the front of the room is going to tell everybody else to do something. So one of the classic examples is, are you ready to make some money? No, I don't think that was good. I said, who's ready to make some money? Okay, all right, I think we got that. That was pretty good, but I think we got one more in us. And then who's ready to make some money? And yay. That's after I came out with the music, and if I'm lucky, I'll have flames on the side, okay, because I integrate the music and the fire, and I start to do call and response. It can be a very powerful force. Can I get an amen? All right. Then amen is call and response, obviously. All right. Fear. Okay, so fear would be the concept. I guess it often goes with the other, that there's an outside force coming to get you, or fear of poverty, or fear of terrorism, or someone's coming to kill you, all right, that you might die, and that somebody out there is going to have to protect you. So fear often very much works, all right. Another great example, well, that is often used is guilt. Okay, so guilt, while some religions are built upon guilt in that you've been bad, and therefore you must do better, and you're not good, okay, but that's okay because it's not your fault you weren't good, but with our help, we can make you good, all right? But you're born with guilt in some religions. Guilt would work, I guess, in the military, okay, saying, there's a lot of people protecting you and saving you so you can sleep safely at night. How does that feel, all right? So either, get on the front lines or don't, okay? Something along those lines would be the guilt of that. Guilt in multi-level marketing can be really weird in that, you're wasting your time going for education, you're wasting your time with those jobs that don't pay, or it can also be used that if you start to find the multi-level marketing thing not effective and you can't sell the knives or the shakes as fast as they said you could, which is going to happen, then you didn't believe in yourself enough, and that's on you. You should feel bad, is how they pitch that. All right, the last social control device I have, small group control device I have, is the most powerful and kind of the most obvious. It's called directed, uniform, repeated behaviors. Okay, so it's behaviors that have three aspects. The directed, okay, in that I'm telling you to do something. Whoever's in charge or got the microphone is telling you to do something. Repeated, or uniform, excuse me, is that we're all going to do it. All of us. We as a group are going to be doing this. And then last is repeated, and we're going to do it again. So there's lots of examples where someone's in charge telling everyone to do it, okay, and then we're going to do it again. Let us please rise. All right, let us please rise was one of the examples. In that in certain religious services, the person at the front is telling you to sit up or sit down or kneel or sit up, kneel, sit up, kneel, sit. Yeah, if you've ever been to one of those, you might be, or a kid, you might be like, why are we doing all this? Well, the answer to why you're doing all that is because the person in charge is telling you to do all that, and you're doing it. And what that does is it creates this mentality where this person, we're following what this person is telling us to do. It is a much smaller step now when they tell us to do something else that we're going to do it. You're basically being, conditioned in a way. All right. Now, hopefully they'd be doing it to save your souls. But, that's, maybe not always the case. So directed, uniform, repeated. Another great example, I guess, would be bed making in the military. And for those of you that don't know, what you'll do is you'll make your beds. But they'll come by and find a piece of lint or drop a quarter. It's not perfect. So then all the beds get torn off, and then you got to make them again. You're like, well, how does this help us defeat the enemy? Well, you'll be doing that for hours. Well, the answer is because the person in charge is telling you to do it, and you're doing it. So now it's a much smaller step when you say, take that hill or cover me, that you're going to have predictable behavior. You're basically conditioning them to follow orders. That's why you're doing that. All right. Hitler, he obviously had his uniform repeated behavior and seek hails. Okay, so you'd have a crowd of 60,000, 100,000 people doing that at his command, behest. It had a very interesting feel of power and authority that you should be listening to, and that was by design. Okay, so if you combine all of these, and different groups use some of these different social control devices in different ways, but if you combine it all, you can have a very powerful force to get kind of people to kind of do what you want to do. Going forward in life, we're going to be looking at some of these examples, and I'd like you to guys see the examples. Now again, it's not necessarily for evil if you start to see these examples, but it should definitely be some sort of signal for you to kind of keep your eye out as to what's coming next, all right? Because if someone has information for you, they can just give you information. If they're using these devices, they may be wanting to give you information without you being aware, okay? So just defense for the future, and thanks guys for watching.